Hello everyone, welcome to my channel BN Bioscience. Myself Vishnupriya Naik. By profession, I am a lecturer in zoology. Since 10 years, I have been given guidelines to most of the students through online classes, through offline classes, through different colleges, schools, and different mediums. Today's topic is parental care in feces. So before going to the topic, if you like this channel, please like it, share it, and subscribe it, and we will now start the session. The parental care. So what do you mean by parental care? It is the parental investment provided by either parents to their offsprings. Basically, the parental care mechanism is seen in most of the animals, higher animals, basically the mammals, birds, and it is also seen in amphibians and reptiles. But in rare cases, the feces also do the parental care. So, in the parental care, the parents, either the male or the female, they taking care of their offsprings and also the eggs, and they do this for their reproductive success. Okay, so every organisms they try to take on their progeny, their gene to the next generations through the reproductive process. And by parental care, they send their genes to 100% to the next generations. So it involves the parents and the mechanism that it differs in different organisms. Okay, in some parental care types, the mechanism is different, and in some that the involvement is either of the male or the female one, and in some cases both the male and the female parents they're taking care in the parental care. So if we see the definition, it is an association between the parents and the offsprings to increase the survival chances of their young ones. So parental care in feces. Most of the feces they don't prefer the parental care. Why? Because they produces enormous number of eggs, so there is no need to care about their eggs and the offsprings. But in some cases, in some feces also they produces less amount of eggs, thus there is a need to take care of their offsprings and the eggs. So thus if we see the egg production is inversely proportional to the parental care. Here if the egg production is very low, it leads to the more parental care, because if the production of the egg is very less, there is a chances of their destructions of the eggs. Okay, to keep them safe, to increase their survival chances, the parents they used to protect them through different medium. So if we see about 77% of the feces, they don't show parental care because they produces enormous number of eggs, and only 17% of the feces they care about their eggs only and not for the young ones. Less than 6% of the feces they care both for the egg and the young ones. So let's see the mechanism of the parental care in feces. So what are the mechanisms? First one is the deposition of eggs in suitable places. Second, the deposition of eggs into self-made nest. Third, concealing eggs and young in or on their body. Fourth, viviparity. Fifth, care of independent young ones. So first one is the deposition of eggs in the suitable places. So in this process, the feces they don't build their nest. They prefer to deposit their eggs in suitable places. So they do it through different mediums, different mechanisms are included here. First one is the deposition of eggs in sticky covering. So in carps, they deposit the eggs in a sticky covering that is secreted from their body. Second, the yellow perch, that is the Perca flavescens. They make the eggs in a hollow rope-like structures embedded, okay, through a sticky substances secreted from their body. In anglerfishes, Lophius, they surround the eggs in a gelatinous coating produced through a substances by their kidney. Flying fishes such as Exocetus keepers, they produce the eggs in a thread-like stick manner. So you can see here, it is the eggs here. They form a hollow rope-like structure. It is of the yellow perch. Okay. Here you can see the eggs are embedded in a jelly-like structures. They held together, and these jelly-like structures they protect them from desiccations or other predators. So it is seen in the anglerfishes. Here you can see in the skipper's fishes, they arrange the eggs in a thread-like manner, and one end of the thread they attach to the some substratum, rocky surfaces, or any cells like surfaces, and the other end is free. Okay, they don't attach with the other any substances. The eggs are arranged in a thread-like structure, and this thread-like structure are secreted from their body through their kidneys. Okay. So next is the egg scattered over aquatic plants. So some fishes like the pikes, that is the Asops lucius, and carps, that is the Cyprinus carpio, they scatter their eggs on the surface of the aquatic plants. Okay, here you can see the fish, the angelfishes here, they scatter their eggs on the surface of the aquatic plant. Okay, and these eggs are stick to the leaf through the sticky secretions of their body. Next process is eggs laid on suitable places. Okay, some fishes like the Salmosolar, the Accipenser, basically the fishes, they're the anadromous fishes, those they migrate from one place to another place. Basically, they migrate from the sea to the fresh water for any suitable breeding places. Okay, they select a suitable breeding place and deposits their eggs. Okay, they lay their eggs in suitable spawning grounds. Okay, it may be some pebbles or any some structures, you can say the stones. Okay, they and the male one basically they try to protect the eggs. Okay, in Pomatus cistos minus, also the sand goby, they lay their eggs in protected places and it is guarded by the male one. Here you can see is the fish, and here the eggs they are deposited on the stone or any suitable ground places eggs, and the male they basically they guard the eggs until they get hatched. The next process is eggs deposited on dead cells of bivalves. Bivalves, you know, it is a mollusk. So these fishes they use to deposit their eggs on dead cells of mussels, the bivalves. Okay, so for example, the fishes that belongs to the Cyprinid family, they used to deposit their eggs on dead cells. Okay, the European bitterling, that is the Rhodius amarus, they deposits eggs with within a dead cells by a long tube-like structure, that is ovipositor, and this ovipositor they are the extension of their oviduct. So through this they deposit their eggs to the mucil cell. Okay, and this the after depositing the eggs, they are this they replace these places by the male one. The male they come and immediately they lay their sperms on the eggs and fertilizes it. And basically the males attracted by this colorful and the size of the mucus, the bivalves. So the next mechanism is the deposition of eggs into self-made nest. So here the fishes they built different type of nest for the deposition of the eggs. So here they made the nest by using some aquatic vegetations or the secretion of their body, stones, pebbles, whatever they find near them, they try to build the nest from it. So there are different type of nest. First one is the basin-like nest. So it is basically produced by the darters. Okay, here the male darter is basically, that is the Athestoma congregata. Some sunfishes and cichlids also doing this type of nest they produce. Okay, the basin like nest, and they do it by digging this area. They remove the pebbles and make a basin like structures. Okay, and they deposited the eggs. The female one they deposited the eggs here. After that the male they lay the sperm, and you know in feces external fertilization takes place, and in the after the fertilization the fertilized eggs are guarded by the male darter feces. In some fishes also, here you can say they remove they dig the place, they make a circle the basin like nest by removing the pebbles and stones from these places, and the same process is carried out. The female one they lay their eggs, and after that the male they deposits their sperm over the eggs, and the eggs get fertilized. Okay, and it is guarded by the sunfishes. Okay, the cichlid cases, both the male and the female, they lay their eggs and sperms and fertilize. But in cichlid cases, they don't try to guard the eggs. They just leave the places after the eggs get fertilized. So next one is the circular nest. In bowfin, that is the Amia calva and catfishes Arius. In Amia calva, the basically the female one, the female one, they lay their eggs in a suitable nest, and this is a circular in nature, and it is produced by the male bowfin. Okay, and they deposited their eggs, the female one, in this nest, and it is fertilized by the male one. And the male one, they guard this area. Okay, they guard the fertilizing eggs, and they also give the aeration to the eggs by fanning through their fins. And after uh, the eggs, from the eggs the hatchlings where comes out, these are also guided by the male fins. Okay, next type is the hole or burrow nest. In these cases, basically the African lungfishes, the Protopterus, the South American lungfishes, the Lepidosirens, they they produce as a whole like nest. Okay, in the shallow water. Okay, where there is very less water and the flow of the water is very slow, but not so sweet. Okay, here the produces a hollow nest. Okay, by digging the area and also by depositing some uh, dead parts of the leaves or any pebbles, they make the hole like structure, and here the female they used to lay their eggs. Next one, the barrel shaped nest. Some fishes they produces an elaborate type of nest. Okay, basically the stickleback fishes, the three-spined stickleback, that is the Gasterosteus aculeatus, and the 10-spined sticklebacks, that is the Pygosteus pungitius. They basically, the male one, they produce a barrel-shaped nest. Okay, near the seashore, where there is very less water, shallow water. Okay, they produce a barrel like nest by depositing the different pebbles and dead leaves or other parts, whatever they find, and also through they bind these particles through a sticky substances secreted by their kidney. Okay, so here you can see the 10 spin stickleback male one, they basically they produce this nest on the upcoming of the breeding season, and then they go for finding the female one. The female stickleback, they come to this tunnel like barrel nest. They enter this nest and they deposit some 3 to 4 eggs here and comes out through this the other end of the nest. Okay, and after that the male one, he goes to find another female, and that second female is also deposited some eggs here, and this process is continuous until the nest is filled up with enough eggs. Okay, after that the male stickleback, they lay their sperm on the eggs. Okay, and fertilize it and guard these eggs until the hatchlings come out. Okay, and they basically they give aerations to the developing eggs. Okay, sometimes they make some scratch like some destroy some part of this upper portions of the tunnel like barrel nest. Okay, to give a good aeration to the developing eggs. Next type is the cup shaped nest. So it is seen in the Apple squadacus, that is the four spinned stickleback. Here they also produces some nest at the ground of the shallow water. Okay, the deposits they first make a cup-like structure. The concave end of the cup is on the upper side of the ground. Okay, the female one they used to deposit their eggs. Okay, on the concave surface of the nest. Okay, and after that the male one they basically they cover the depositing eggs through sticky substances and extend this cup nest. After that the other second female they come and deposited their eggs, okay, on it, and this process is going on until a stake like substance is a stake like nest, multi-layered nest is produced. So it forms a cup like structure. Okay, next the floating nest, as the name suggests, it is a floating nest. Means they are the basically the mormyrids, that is the gymnarchus fishes, they form the nest. Okay, and on the water surface, and it even the nest is above the water level. Okay, next one, the foamy nest. Here, the beta feces, that is the fighting fish, the American cat feces, the splendens, they used to produce the nest, okay, by forming the bubble-like substances, mucus, okay, the bubbles they arranged, they stick with each other and they form a foam-like nest, okay. Here you can see the male Siamese fighting fish. They are called as the fighting fish because they guard this forming nest, okay, by fighting with the other male until even they die while fighting. Okay, they fight until they die. Okay, so this is the foamy nest. So the third mechanism is concealing eggs and young ones. In some species, it is seen that they develop a special structure in or on their body to giving safeguard to the eggs and the young ones. Okay, and here the first one is the eggs and the young ones concealed in mouth cavity. Okay. Some cichlids, that is the tilapia, catfishes, arias, Brazilian catfish, Loricaria typus, they basically they carry the eggs and sometimes the young ones in their mouth cavity. So you can see here is the tilapia, female tilapia, and here you can see the eggs in her mouth buccal cavity. She carry these eggs in her buccal cavity in her mouth, and even in the time of danger also the young ones also enter into its mouth, okay, to escape from the predators for the temporary period. The formation of the egg ball. Formation of the egg ball, you can see in some fishes, butterfishes, follies. Here they form they form the ball of eggs by make a sticky substances. They stick the eggs with each other. They form a ball-like structure, and basically either of the parent, the male or the female one, they coiled around the egg. Okay, to protect them. Basically here the male one is basically prefer to coil around the eggs. Okay, here also you can see the in catfishes, the male one basically they carry the eggs. Okay, either of the parents, maybe the male one, the female one, they do the parental care. Okay, here in catfishes areas, the male they basically carry the young ones in their mouth cavity, and even in that time they stop eating. Then third one is the eggs has to attach to the cephalic hoop. Okay, so it is seen in some male nursery fishes, that is the Puttus indicus. It is also called as the Indios, okay, of New Guinea. And you can see the male nursery fishes, okay, they carry the eggs, they attach it in their forehead, okay, on both the either side of the forehead, they form the two ball-like structure, a mass of the eggs, okay, they carry it, they attached it in their forehead and carry with them wherever they go. So in this way, they carry their eggs, they conceal their eggs, okay. Basically, it is done by the male one. Then eggs in integumentary cups. Okay. In some fishes like the catfish, that is your Platystachus in of the Brazil, these catfishes at the upcoming of the breeding seasons, they are lower portion of the body that becomes soft and spongy, okay, and after the eggs get fertilized, the female they used to press its body against the eggs, and the eggs they thus perforate inside the spongy part, okay, inside a cup like structure, okay, they attached in the cup like structure, okay, and they remain attached until they get hatched. You can see here it is the Platystachys fish. Okay, here the egg cups you can see in its integument in their skin. It is an amazing process. Next one is the eggs kept in brood pouches. Okay, in some fishes like the seahorse, that is the hippocampus, and the pipe fishes, the signathus, here they have special organ that is called as the brood pouches. The folding of their skin, you can see here, it is the male seahorse hippocampus. So after the fertilization of the eggs, the female they transfer the eggs in the brood pouches of the male. The female they don't bear the brood pouches. Here the male one they having the brood pouches. Okay, and in these brood pouches, the depositing eggs are nourished by the male horses. They nourish them. They give the oxygen. They provide oxygen to the developing eggs. Okay, here it is the brood pouches, And after they get fully developed, they hatched out the hatchlings, you can see here. And in some time it is seen that in the time of danger or any predators is coming, these hatchlings they just return to the brood pouch of the male one for some temporary time. So in pipe fishes also you can see there is a brood pouch is there. It is a folding of the skin. It's a pipe fish, that is the Signathus, the male pipe fish. Okay, here you can see the enlarged versions. That is the wall of the brood pouch. Here the cluster of the eggs are there. Okay, so here the eggs are stay here for some developing period. So after that they hatched out, they comes out. Next is the egg capsules. So in elasmo branch, basically the sharks and the rays, the oviparous, they are oviparous. They produce the eggs. They lay eggs. Okay, and these eggs are basically they produced inside a horny egg capsules called as the mermaid purses. Here you can see. Okay, here it is the tendiles. They bear the tendiles. Through the tendiles, they attach to some aquatic weeds. Okay, so that they are not being flow away by the flowing water. Okay, here the eggs are deposited inside these honey egg capsules. Okay, here you can see it is the crates of egg honey cases. Okay, here the egg is there, the embryo is there, the yolk sac is also there, and it is the mermaid's purse of the chimera. You can see so different forms of the egg capsules are there. It is of the mermaid purse of the Port Jackson shark. Okay, it is of the shark. Okay, it is also one type of egg capsules of the shark. It is also another shark. So different type of egg capsules are seen in the same species also. Okay, so next one is the fourth mechanism is viviparity. You know, viviparity means the viviparous animals they lay the young ones. They don't give the eggs. Okay, they directly lay the young ones, give birth to the young ones. So higher degree of parental care is seen in viviparous species. You can see in mammals also that are the viviparous animals, parental care is seen. Okay, because in these cases the developing embryo is developed inside the body of the female, the parent body. Okay, so there is an attachment between the mother and the embryo, the baby. Okay, so there is more chances of the parental care is seen in these viviparity. Okay, cases. So you can see the viviparous elasmo branch, the sharks, the scoliodon, saracoa, the mustelus, they develops their eggs inside the uterus. You can see here, it is a mother shark, scoliodon. You can see here the very ovary are there. Here a developing embryo is there and they are attached to the uterine wall. Okay, it is a paraplacental uterine site is there, and here it is the site of the attachment. The placenta is there. You know, placenta. It is the medium through which the mother and the developing baby is attached. Okay, the baby they get the nourishment through this placenta. Okay, there is an umbilical cord. It is attached the baby with the mother. Okay, and here there is a uterine milk is provided by the mother to the developing embryo for the development. Okay. Then viviparous bony fishes. In some bony fishes like the teleost, gambusia, poecilia, they show internal fertilization. You know, internal fertilization means the male gamete and the female gamete they fuse inside the body. Okay. So cynar perch, that is the Gametogaster aggregatus. Here also there is the developing embryo. They develop inside the body of the female one. Okay, the cynar perch you can see here the developing embryos are there, but the difference is there here the embryos are not attached with any uterine wall. Okay, here you can see there is an attachment, but here there is no attachment is there. Okay, next one is your ovoviviparous. So some species are ovoviviparous. Ovoviviparous means they produces eggs. Okay, they produces egg inside their body, but they don't lay the eggs. Okay, the egg get hatched inside the body, and the hatchlings are coming out from the body. So it is also called as the viviparous. So it is ovoviviparous. The embryo, the eggs is not develops inside the body. Okay, inside the uterine wall. But they are this type of eggs they produces horny case, and they just after after getting out of the body, okay, they hatched out just before getting out the laid out from the body. Okay, it is seen in the north shark, that is the gingli mostoma. So the fifth mechanism is care of independently swimming young ones. So some fishes basically of the families such as Gasterostidae and Centachidae and is Stalluridae. Okay, so in some of these families, basically the members they used to protect their young ones after hatching. Okay, they swim with them. They give protections every time. Okay, they even carry their young ones. Okay, in their body or out on their body by some specialized organ. And these species they basically defend the young ones by placing them in a suitable, safe place away from predators and enemies. So, this is all about the parental care in fishes. So, we are going to end this session here. If you like this channel, please like it, share it, and subscribe it as much as possible. Please click the bell icon for more notifications for watching this channel. Thank you very much.